So as I said, these are just the sit down sort of chat type interviews and bring up key points as from a resident. So if you want to take about 5 minutes, introduce yourself and anything you want to say from the beginning and let us know about who you are and what you want to do.
Sounds good. My background's not too uncommon for a lot of Canadians. I'm the of an immigrant, and I grew up playing hockey in the winter and exploring the beautiful parks, beaches, and lake North Simcoe has to offer. I attended the University of Western Ontario and got a degree in criminology. I also have a Juris Doctor that I obtained in Australia at Bond University. I'm currently I'm an agent for international vineyards and other alcoholic beverage manufacturers, and I help them get their products into the LCBO. I believe that diversity makes this country great, and that protecting vulnerable groups and standing up for those in needs is a quality that goes hand in hand with being Canadian. So please consider the Liberal Party and Mark Carney as the best man for the job and the right man at the right time. Thank you.
Okay, awesome, thanks. So we kind of sent you some high level topics like affordability and cost of living. If you want to just talk about that, like I guess some of the concerns we have up here are we sometimes it feels like the major centers get all the focus and the rural areas are somewhat forgotten about or get the table scrapped, so to speak.
Well, we do have a plan with rural, and I believe more economic, and I can get into that a little bit later. But in terms of, sorry, was it affordability and cost of living?
Yes.
Yes. Liberals will definitely make life cost less for the middle class. We are going to cancel, well, we have canceled the divisive carbon tax, saving Canadians on average 18 cents per liter on the price of gas. I mean, I saw it at $1.16 the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and just to see that is always great. It's more pocket in the or more money in our pockets, which is exactly what everyone needs at this time of uncertainty. We're delivering a middle class tax cut, saving two income households up to $825 a year. Um, we're getting your government back into the business of building homes. We're doubling the pace of construction over the next decade to almost 500,000 new homes a year. We're eliminating the GST for first-time home buyers on homes under $1 million, saving Canadians up to $50,000 on the purchase of their first home. We've expanded dental coverage to Canadians aged 18 to 64 to provide access to over 4 million, around 4.5 million Canadians, so more people can get the care they need. And of course, saving Canadians around $800 in dental care. In contrast, Pierre and Adam Chambers are the wrong choice at the worst possible time for our country. Chambers voted against social programs like a $10 a day daycare, dental care, and pharmacare. Programs that save families up to thousands of dollars each year. Adam may want to cut. We don't. He knows our federal government's program works, or Adam knows our federal government's programs work. He even tried to help our community benefit from the Federal Housing Accelerator Fund. But when Pierre came knocking, he backed down and abandoned his efforts to get our community the funding it deserves. If he's not going to stand up to Pierre, who will? Only Mark Carney, only Mark Carney and his Liberal team, and me, will has what it takes to fight Trump's tariffs, protect our jobs, and build the strongest economy in the G7.
Okay, awesome. And I guess our area has, we're worried about inflation, and we have lots of people, especially in the tiny area with fixed incomes, people retiring up here, and younger families are moving in. So what would you do to tackle inflation to ensure that people can still live within their means?
Well, we are, in terms of seniors, we have added a 5% increase to the, I believe, senior benefits that will put up to around $650 in their pocket for the year. To help seniors out as well, we also reduce the RIFs by 25%, the amount needed, so you can take out less, or take out money now instead of in the future, and help you guys save money. In terms of helping young families, it's the daycare that's really we're really pushing for, because it saves on average around $16,000 per year per kid. And you really shouldn't go broke raising a kid. They're our future, and we need to do everything we can to protect them.
Okay. The next sort of topic would be climate change and environmental protection. So Tiny is very proud of the water. I'm sure you've seen the reports, and National Geographic said the water in the area is some of the cleanest in the world. So how do you see Canada meeting and ensuring that the climate remains a focus, but also building the houses, that are $500,000 houses, and construction, and how do we balance both?
Well, yes, it's definitely a balancing act. We um, we are trying our best to make sure that we can build homes as quick as possible while putting environment at the forefront. The consumer carbon tax wasn't working. It became too divisive. That's why Mark Carney canceled it. While Pierre says he would like to make it free for big polluters, Mark Carney is committed to improving and tightening the output-based pricing system for large industrial emitters. The Liberal Party will put measures in place to invest in energy-efficient buildings and electrified transportation. We will have big polluters pay Canadians to make their green choices while paying their fair share for the emissions. We will help Canadian companies more competitive so that Canada can leapfrog the United States in international markets. We will introduce trade measures to ensure fairness for Canadian industries in the global economy, to ally with those countries engaged in fight against climate change. Mark Carney and the Liberal team look forward to sharing more in the coming weeks about our plan to reduce pollution and create healthier communities for all Canadians.
Okay, awesome. Rural infrastructure and the economy. So again, rural areas like ours seem to be left out of the federal conversation about jobs and growth, yet small business and agriculture are the backbone here. So one of the questions would be inter-provincial trade. So how can we expect the government to negotiate free trade or trade agreements with other countries when we can't even get our provinces to trade freely?
Well, we're working on eliminating trade barriers, that's for sure. We're trying to cut the red tape and turn the entire, instead of 13 different markets, into one big one, and it will definitely benefit Canadians as a whole. While there are likely to be more rural-specific content in the platform, there have been a number of announcements that will certainly benefit rural economic development. Here are a few highlights that should be relevant in the area and will continue to develop in the future. In terms of skilled trades, Liberal-led government with Mark Carney at the top will provide an apprenticeship grant of up to $8,000 for registered apprentices. This will remove a key financial barriers to skills training, getting more people in the workforce and building our economy. We will be upscaling, and Mark Carney's government will provide a new upskilling and training benefit for workers in the middle class, or the middle of their careers, who need to access new skill training for their career stability and success. This new benefit will provide up to $15,000 for workers in priority sectors, including manufacturing, healthcare, construction, AI, and technology. In the face of economic uncertainty and volatility many Canadian businesses are facing, we will collaborate with employers to support retention and upskilling within their companies. We want to ensure that Canadian workers impacted by tariffs have the necessary tools to pursue good-paying jobs and advance their careers in priority sectors. We will design these supports in partnership with labor, employers, and industry. Now, something that's very specific to our area is agricultural and supply management. The Liberal government will implement a suite of policy measures to defend supply management, invest in businesses and workers, and cut red tape. Among other measures, we will protect Canadians' commitment to supply management and supply managed sectors such as dairy, poultry, and eggs, making permanent the doubling of revenue protection for farmers under the acre stability program from 3 to 6 million per farm. In the case of significant revenue drops caused by the impacts of tariffs, extreme weather, and other external shocks. We're working on building more domestic processing capacity, including food processing capacity in rural and remote areas, with a new $200 million domestic food processing fund. We're increasing support for farmers, ranchers, and producers to access new markets for their food products. That's why we're eliminating interprovincial trade barriers with an additional 30 million in the agri-market program. Increase the help for farmers and ranchers to buy new, more efficient farm equipment with a $30 million top up for the agricultural clean technology program. And last but not least, double the loan guarantee from 500,000 to $1 million of the Canadian Agricultural Loans Act program and expand terms by 5 to 10 years.
Good. Always a topic up here from the infrastructure point of view, broadband. So broadband in rural communities is hit and miss. So what would be the Liberals' plan to help get everyone connected?
Well, yes, we believe that everyone needs to be connected. It's a new age world, that's for sure. You can't really do much without the internet, and I believe this interview is proof of that.
Exactly.
But yes, we're investing in broadband, and we really want it to grow.
Okay, and energy independence. What's your party's plan to strengthen Canada's energy independence, including the development of pipelines, refineries, and investment in next generation energy sources?
We really are taking the carrot, not the stick approach, and we want to build Canada as an energy superpower. That means not only investing in new and sustainable energy, but also making sure that our conventional energy is helping our economy, but we want to make sure that it's also good for the environment. So in terms of anything to do with oil, we are implementing a carbon capture technology and making sure that if we are using oil, we're using it in the best possible way. Now's not the time to lose jobs, and we really want to make sure that as we wean or move away from oil and into new clean energy, such as wind, solar, we just want to make sure that everyone is protected. And in terms of these other green energies, we are incentivizing companies all over to help and with us our transition so we can become a leader in the world.
Yeah, that's great. You talked about farmers, which is great. So democracy and trust in government. So many people here are increasingly cynical about politics. The government doesn't listen, or they don't deliver on what they promise. I mean, I don't know if you're aware of this very local, tiny township building, administration building that is I know it has nothing to do with the federal government, but it's a good example of what our opinion is, government not listening to their people. So how would you rebuild the trust in government?
Well, actually, I'm a resident of Tiny, so the Stop the Build campaign is actually doing quite a good job in getting the word out there, and I will leave in terms of them because I believe they're the best people to talk about this municipal issue at the moment. But in terms of trust in government, we're standing up for our national institutions at a time of national crisis, and that's what sets the Liberals apart from the Conservatives. We'll keep standing up for institutions like the CBC, institutions that provide a reliable Canadian public forum in the sea of misinformation so we can tell our own stories in our own languages. While Pierre follows President Trump's playbook to take aim at the institutions that make Canada strong, we are standing up for them. We want you to be able to trust us, and we want you to be able to feel safe in the new government. And Prime Minister Mark Carney is definitely the man for the job.
Okay. What's your stance on electoral reform or making Parliament work better for everyday people?
Well, electoral reform was a very hot button topic for Mr. Justin Trudeau, and I know he regrets that he couldn't finish more. However, we did implement, the Liberal Party did implement a committee to get things moving. Unfortunately, the committee wasn't as focused on working together, and we couldn't really accomplish it. And we were definitely open to reform, and we want to listen to the people and see what they have to say, because this is in Canada, everyone's opinions matter, and that's exactly why everyone should get out to vote for the Liberal Party, of course.
Of course. Um, do you think we need to change the way federal funding reaches municipalities?
Uh, no comment on that, it's
Okay,
unfortunate.
that's fine. So we're trust in government. Uh, so this is a bit more of a local issue. I know not necessarily um, the federal government may or may not have much say over this, but again, it's on people's minds. Um, so in Tiny, we've seen firsthand what happens when aggregate extraction or water taking puts our environment and quality of life at risk. Where does your party stand on the regulation of aggregate extraction and groundwater protection?
Well, I am an avid avid fisherman, and groundwater is definitely drinking water is definitely important for all Canadians, that's for sure. And a Mark Carney-led Liberal government will protect our fresh water. We're going to be investing 100 million in a strategic water security technology fund to advance Canadian R&D, AI, monitoring, and data tools. We're also going to enshrine First Nations right to water and law, something that is it's just a makes sense for everyone. But aggregate extraction is a provincial issue regulated by the Ministry of Natural Resources. We do empathize, and we will take the concerns to Ottawa. We do need to have a national conversation about protecting water, and I'm willing to work with the provinces to have that conversation.
Okay, that leads to the next question. Should the federal government play a bigger role in protection of clean water? I think you kind of answered it by opening the conversation.
Yes, we we definitely want to take these concerns to Ottawa.
Okay. How would you ensure that local communities have a say in decisions that affect their land and water?
Well, the Liberal government wants to get input from everyone, especially Indigenous communities. And as I said, we are enshrining First Nations right to water into law. We want to make sure everyone has clean drinking water.
Mhm. Okay. And unfortunately, we have to talk about the US and Trump. It's a big topic right now. So he's doing what he's doing. I'll explain it. So and as you said, Prime Minister Carney has been out there and speaking on it. So how would your party protect Canadian workers, industries, especially in vulnerable regions like ours?
Well, when it comes to President Trump down there, I think the first question everyone has to answer or ask themselves is, who do you want to stand up against him? And I believe the answer for that is Mr. Mark Carney. He's already shown that he can, and he's a strong leader. A Mark Carney-led government will stand strong against President Trump's tariffs, create new jobs, cut taxes for the middle class, and build the fastest growing economy in the G7. Liberals will build Canada strong. We're implementing trade diversification. The Liberal government will inject $5 billion into new trade diversification corridor fund to build the infrastructure that will help diversify our trade partners, create good jobs, and drive economic growth. This fund will accelerate nation building projects at ports, railroads, inland terminals, airports, and highways. This will build one Canadian economy and diversify our trade away from the United States. We will authorize Canadian ports to cooperate instead of compete in order to maximize efficiencies by leveraging comparative advantages. Sorry. We will strengthen the security of our ports to stop flow of drugs such as fentanyl and its precursors, as well as illegal guns and stolen autos. In terms of workers, I know the auto industry is very relevant at the time, and our plan to support auto workers against tariff protection union support auto workers against tariffs, protect union jobs, and grow the auto industry. Our plan to support Canadian auto workers against tariffs We're going to create a 2 billion strategic response fund to boost our auto sector's competitiveness, protect manufacturing jobs, support workers to upskill their expertise in the industry, and build a fortified Canadian supply chain. From raw materials to the finished vehicles, we're covering it all. We're going to build an all-in-Canada network for auto manufacturing component parts. With this network, we will work with industry to build more car parts in Canada, limit those parts crossing the border during production, and attract investment into our own industry. We're going to maximize Canada's steel, aluminum, and critical minerals from exploration to battery production to seize this economic opportunity, create higher paying jobs, and build the strongest economy in the G7. We're also going to leverage government funding to prioritize and procure Canadian-built vehicles, catalyzing domestic investment growth to grow the Canadian auto industry. In contrast, Pierre worships Donald Trump and copies his playbook to a T. He'll never stand up to him.
Thank you. So that's really all the questions we had. So as a final thought, imagine you're sitting around your kitchen table with a local family here in Tiny. I guess it could be your kitchen table. What is one message you would want them to remember from this conversation?
Well, like I said before, when it comes to dealing with Mr. Trump, who is the best man for the job? And I think it's a pretty clear answer. Mark Carney is that man. He is intelligent. He knows his stuff. He knows how to make the economy work, and he knows that he can what to do, and he's keeping his elbows up and supporting Canadians.
Yeah. Okay, that's all we have. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap this up?
No, I just wanted to say thank you for doing this. It's really great. And the residents of Tiny, I'm sure I will see you soon. And
I'm
for the
sure.
rest of North Simcoe, I'll be out there knocking on doors and making phone calls. So hopefully I can see them soon as well.
All right. All right. All the best in the election.
Thank you.
All right.